So, 3, 2, 1.
You don't have to leave space because I'll always edit it.
Oh.
Go.
Hello. Good afternoon on a Monday here. Monday the 14th of February. It is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, people. Apologies. Welcome to Bants with Boo. We were supposed to be here last week, and I was absolutely hanging, so that's why it's a little bit late. I am once again joined by the one, the only,
Mr. Ricky Rojas.
Hello. Here he is.
Hello, listeners. I'd just like to say that, indeed, we were supposed to do a podcast last Monday, but because my colleague here was hanging out his...
Mr. Tam Mutu was drunk.
He was hanging out his bumhole last week.
That was bad.
And
bad week.
I'd like for you to do the impersonation that you did for me and Robin Herder in the dressing room of what you were like after you'd, I think, thrown up once or twice.
Yeah. So okay. So we're drinking. Just so we'll cut to the chase. I was drinking bourbon, and bourbon's one of those slow.
I'm a bourbon drinker. I drink bourbon.
Oh, that night it was Sunday night, and we were just drinking, and we had friends over, so we were having like slow drinks, and before you know it, you've got through more than you ever thought you could ever get through, and you thought, I feel pretty good. Keep going. Cue bedtime. Everyone's feeling a little bit, okay, I'm good now. And you get in bed, and 3 o'clock in the morning, you're lying there, and you wake up, and you picture a seal pup just born, like a slimy. It's like that's what I felt like in bed with the headache. I felt rancid. I was rolling around slimy, couldn't get comfortable. Head was exploding. And then I was like, and then I literally got up, ran to the bathroom, vommed everywhere. And then the shame of it, came back into bed. And I woke up sort of like with this severe headache in the morning, and next to me was like a towel bucket and everything. Obviously my wife, being amazing, had put it all out for me, and the child woke up really early as well, and it was my morning as well. It was my morning.
They don't give a shit. Kids don't give a shit.
She didn't give a shit. Well, Murphy didn't give a shit, but like my wife was so nice because she actually did get up. Kim got up and actually took care of the child for me because I was still like in bed. Like, oh God, that was a bad day. The whole day ruined.
Mate,
the whole day.
I remember
ruined.
messaging you going, "Are we going to do this podcast?" It was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I know. It was bad.
He was like, "Boo. I'm rough, Boo. I haven't been out of bed, Boo."
I stayed in bed till 3, went to bed at 8. That was how bad I was. And I never get that drunk ever because I'm normally pretty aware. But see, the bourbon slow drinking. I think we got through a bottle and a half of bourbon, which is not normal.
Can I just say, I was at a Super Bowl party last night, and I've never had
Rams,
this thing. Yeah, go Rams, go Sports.
Go Sports.
I had a pickle chaser.
Oh,
and I've never had that before in my life. And it sounds disgusting. I had a shot of bourbon. Right?
With a pickle in it?
A shot of bourbon. And then I had a shot of pickle juice.
Oh.
It sounds weird. It sounds weird as fuck. But I was with an ex bartender, and they were like, yeah, that's how you get through a whole bottle of bourbon, and then you're all right. I was like, why? I was like, it's just chemistry, man. It's chemistry. Apparently the vinegar and like all the alkalites or whatever, like it works against the bourbon, and you're not as drunk. And it's true.
Oh, also,
I was hanging, I was fine.
But a good tip is also maybe to drink some water before you go to bed, which I failed to do last week, and you didn't do last night, did you?
No one. Why? Because it tastes like nothing.
Because it's chemistry again, and we'll balance a bit of osmosis, that whole thing.
You know what's good?
Go on.
Asahi.
Right. That's a nice beer. So today's podcast 3. I should have announced that at the beginning, but hey, we do things differently here. It's about phobias and anxieties. Yeah. So just because I'm a bit of a nerd sometimes, what's a phobia? Phobia, an extreme or irrational fear or aversion to something. Interesting. An anxiety, a feeling or worry, a feeling of worry, nervousness or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. So generally, like phobias, like you've got specific. I've got specific phobias, like animals, spiders, things like that. Like people do have social phobias, what fear of performance, dairy.
It's a phobia, isn't it? Some people are scared of dairy.
Oh my God. Someone's still drunk. Social phobia, fear of performance, public speaking is kind of relevant to what we do. And agoraphobia, which is a fear of open spaces or leaving one's home, which is pretty traumatic, I hear.
Happens to me every Tuesday when I have to go do the show.
Yeah, exactly. Agoraphobia kicks right in. You're like,
I don't want to leave.
Then you become that seal pup again. So phobias and anxieties. What tell me about it. Do you have anything specific? Do you have anything which really bugs you?
I'm actually pretty good with phobias and stuff. Like growing up in Australia, insects and things like that, snakes don't bother me. The thing that does kind of bother me, and it's
dairy.
Like dairy. Yeah. Honestly, it upsets my stomach. Something awful. No, it doesn't. I love dairy. However, I find rats kind of like they make my skin crawl a little bit.
So you love our building then?
Yeah, but but that's specific. Like, we get the occasional mice here on Broadway and in the West End. That's why we used to have theatre cats in London, and still do in some venues. But it's more specific to the bigger variety of rodent.
So you don't like a rat? So what about when you go on the subway and you see them all running around everywhere? Does it freak you out a little bit?
A little bit, but not. I think it's the proximity to it. I've got to be close. If I'm close to a rat, I will jump.
Okay. I think they're supposed to be super intelligent, right?
Yeah. Well, they survive.
Well, yeah. Right? Yeah. Well, I
know some. I know some people in our theatre have some phobias with mice.
Yeah, you do hear you hear a scream every now and again. You can hear it from the upstairs, and you generally know, mouse. Everyone sort of like looks at each other and goes, mouse.
Hey, it's Broadway. It happens.
Everyone jumping up and down. Robin's particularly adverse to mice, isn't she?
Yeah, it was. But
I haven't seen any of those. The one was living in her room though, having a good time.
He was there for a good time. He was pouring himself a whiskey. Yeah, listening to some jazz.
Yeah, why would he leave? She made it so cozy in there.
Smoking a pipe.
Exactly.
Smoking a pipe in some slippers.
He's like, hey, I was here before you. I'm not leaving. You leave.
He's just clicking his fingers like,
too right.
Listening to jazz.
And actually, he's going to be there longer, isn't he? Because
you know what I'm saying.
She is moving on.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Please, I don't want to talk about it. It upsets me.
So let's go. So what do I have? Well, people know that I do suffer a lot of from anxiety. Have done since a kid actually. Mm-hmm. We don't need to get into the nitty-gritties of whys. This isn't a social social worker sort of podcast. This is basically, but I do. Performance anxiety is a thing. And I don't know what it's kind of like a feeling more than anything else for me. It's like more, and if you start to analyze it, the kind of the fear of failure kind of sort of becomes very dominant, I think, with performance anxiety. Yeah.
This industry in general doesn't lend itself well to people with anxiety. Right.
No, it does not.
The audition process, the performance process, like it's all up against you. So for someone that suffers with anxiety, I think you do super well.
Thank you.
Like really, really well with it.
Well, yeah, that's very cool.
You have your ups and downs like everyone, but
you do. But I'm going to get into that. I'm going to explain that as well in a minute. But carry on. You carry on.
No, I was just saying that you do well with it in this environment. Especially like with all this COVID stuff. It's like, I think COVID's brought the anxiety out in everyone. Like even I don't suffer from panic attacks or anxiety attacks. And I had a few when I was at home in France.
No, I get it.
It was weird.
No, I get it. Yeah, totally. I just think as well, something like with anxiety, when you're younger, I think you are definitely more fearless. And I think as you get older and you have, I don't want to necessarily say more standards, but like you have potentially have a bit more of a career. You're more mindful of what's good and what's not, where your sort of performance levels are or you would like them to be or aiming for. I think then as you start to layer pressure and things get more and more layered, And whereas the fearlessness of youth and the recklessness of it, you don't really give a shit, do you? When you're younger, you do, but you sort of can brush it off quicker. I think as you get older, I think it's that fear of failure sort of like permeates everything. I think in a bit. Some people are really good with it, and they can just sort of like whatever, and put things down. But I sort of go through this sort of, I get waves of it as well. A lot of his mind's sort of based around. Obviously lack of sleep, kind of things like that always affect me, or like if I haven't exercised, the obvious things, eating well, all that kind all helps. Does make a big difference. It does. Having a new kid really helps with anxiety. It's the top of the world. I'm
there to talk you out of it though, most times.
But I mean, I don't particularly have phobias. I guess I always had a thing with sharks as a kid. I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I watched Jaws too much. It's one of those things where I was sitting there watching it, like behind bleeding, you know what I mean? Eyes. Like I just couldn't.
Yeah.
And you thought I couldn't not watch it, but was terrified as well at the same time.
That's hilarious.
And every time, and ironically, I was a trained lifeguard, and I had to give up.
You were a trained lifeguard?
Yeah. I did all my badges and everything like that, and then was set up to do the
or in Hastings.
Yeah, the beach patrol in Hastings on the stones. Can you imagine it?
Patrol. Were you like Baywatch?
Yeah, there's no sand in sight though, dude. It's all fucking stones. So like, imagine looking cool along there, across the the stones. I'll say fuck it, I ain't saving you. You can drown. It hurts my feet too much. But no, I'd get in the water. I get in the water and I'd be like, my mind, again, it comes down to anxieties though. Again, it's the same thing. My mind goes to weird shit. My mind always goes to weird shit.
But that's like some people have that weird like phobia where they can't swim out in open water because they're like, what's below me?
Well, that's how that was exactly it. I'd always imagine, I always have that thing. I remember like seeing a documentary once, and this girl was explaining she was out in the water, and she said it was really tranquil, and she was like swimming, and then she looked down, and then she could just see this black sort of hole below her coming up, and it was like a shark ready to take off her legs. That's what she remembered when she woke up. Yeah. So like that's where I go. I go like, there's something below me. I would
shat myself.
Oh, I don't even know what you'd do. Just be like
horrific. I would have shat myself. I'm telling you what I would do. I would fall out my bum hole.
Yeah,
and the shark would have a mouthful of poo. That's what would happen.
Yeah, it's not a great sort of visual, is it? Like getting eaten by a shark or bitten by whatever. It's rare that people get eaten. Let's be honest. They get a bite and then generally will lose a limb and stuff, which is really tragic.
Mate, obviously you're not Australian, man. Some surfers get yammed in Australia when they're surfing because they think that you're a seal.
Wow, that's what people think they think, but who knows what they think? They probably just think, oh, look at that dude. He thinks he's cool. I'm going to chow down.
I'll have a go. Yam.
I'm going to yam down on his legs.
Honestly.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Anyway, that's kind of like a phobia. But the whole performance anxiety thing is something I sort of like have to deal with all the time
But that happens I reckon that happens to everyone, like at some point. It happens to me like when it usually happens when you're thinking about it. As soon as you start thinking about what you're doing,
right,
then you're like, oh my God, what's the next line? I'm thinking of the line, and then you're like, what's the next line? And then if you can't remember it, it's like, my solution for you when you get into that situation is like, I think, what's the worst that can happen here in this situation? One, I will forget my lines and there will just be empty space that I'll have to deal with and make up. And can I live with it? I'm like, yeah, I can live with that. And then as soon as I accept the failure of it, the lines just come back to me.
Yeah, but that's the key, isn't it? Accepting the failure of like leaving dead space, or because it's always worse in your mind. Again, it's all in your mind. It's always worse in your mind than actually what it happens on stage. Like, because it happens, it happens to everyone in our cast. It's something that's happened to at some point. You trip on a line.
100%.
You'll forget.
KO, previously known as Karen Levo. KO used to. They used to forget, like in Diamonds. Remember, she used to sing some outlandish shit in Diamonds.
Yeah. I don't know how she got away. I don't know how she did it. But things when people go up or things like that happen on stage, if I'm on stage with them, I literally live it with them. I feel it. I'm literally my ass falls out of my body, and I'm like, oh God, I can't help you. What do I do? What do I do? And invariably, I will then, when it's my turn to speak, I'll be so loud and so on the front foot of trying to help you know what I mean? Because you just want to like, let me help you. And like, do you know what I mean? Kind of like one of those kind of things. So I'll be so loud and so fast. So fast that you can't even understand what I'm saying.
Everyone's like, okay, you're yelling.
Yeah, why are you yelling right now?
Why are you yelling?
Trying to save my friends.
I want to save my friends. See, you're a lifesaver. See, it's that instinct.
Instinct until the shark comes.
That Hastings Baywatch instinct. I want to save people.
But you do. Like the biggest mindfuck is when you go on stage and like some people like do have these tricks where they'll do their lines before they go on stage. Some people don't. Some people will just go on and just sort of say, "Hey, here's the scene."
Yeah,
and hope for the best.
Yeah.
As you get older, I think more and more people I know who get older generally run their lines.
They do, don't they?
They do. As you get older, because it's not there. It's.
I'm still at the point of.
You don't care.
I'm okay. I don't care.
Yeah, see, your brain's still there.
I think I don't care because if I go out, what's the worst that can happen, people? Like, no one's going to, it's not brain surgery. Like, I'll forget a line. That's it. I'll remember it tomorrow.
Right.
The more pressure you put on it, it's the worse it gets.
But I don't think that's really that because like you can get away with it and think, okay, well, that's fine. And you'll generally try and save yourself. But then you start to imagine all the people staring at you about it. And then all your friends, invariably the people on stage are generally laughing when things like that happen. It's very rare that someone like me and we're like, oh God, you're right. And I might have a giggle every now and again when someone, says something which is so obscure. Like,
mate, what are you talking about? The other day, Sa, who plays Toulouse-Lautrec, he did something different, and we took no prisoners. We all literally laughed at him in mid-scene
because he was laughing through the line. He literally went, "I have no idea what I'm saying," and he just started carrying on laughing. So of course, I'm just going to laugh.
It's the equivalent of pointing and laughing when you're at school.
It is funny. It is funny, but it's funny when things go wrong. But like the anxiety around it, if you can sort of like pocket it, and I don't know, dude. I always have a. It's more this sort of expectation you put on yourself that you can't make a mistake. It's so not sustainable. So inevitably you are going to fail. And when you do, if you build it up as much as I do, then when you do sort of fail, I mean, you can triple. I mean, I had one the other day where I sort of said something. I questioned, you do it because when you've been on the show for a long time, you question the line before you go on and you're like, oh, fuck, is it? And then you've said the line and you're still in your head going, did I just say right? And you're still speaking. It's like driving somewhere and not knowing how you got there, and you're still saying, and you're like, you need to focus right now, buddy. Hey. And
you need to get back in the room.
You need to get back in the room and actually be present and actually do the scene rather than worrying. It's weird. It's weird how you sort of do that. And that's, I have a tendency to do that. And then the next day you go on and you're like, still thinking about it in that specific moment.
It's inevitable that it happens in something when something's so repetitive. Something so repetitive as what we do. It's like it's inevitable that it's going to happen. Like you will be out. You will have an out of body experience.
Yeah, it's gross. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. So it
sucks.
So do you have anything like? So if you kind of touched on it actually a little bit, like coping mechanisms. What do you do? So I said things like I eat well, try as much sleep as much as I can because that's not always easy either. And I exercise a lot because I feel like that gets a lot of my adrenaline, because invariably it's adrenaline based, my stuff, specifically me. I try and do as much exercise as I can, like, those sort of things. Like play specific music sometimes, scream at a PlayStation 4, whatever. What do you do?
He does a lot of that.
You play a lot of guitar. What else do you do to sort of cope with?
I don't know. I just try and keep chilled, try not to put too much importance on it.
Yeah, you're a bad person to have on this podcast for this one, really, aren't you? Really? You're a bit too.
Or am I am I a good person?
You're like my antithesis, aren't you, really?
Well, that's why we work, mate.
Yeah. Because I'm so strung and you're like, yeah, whatever, who cares?
I'm like, what's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
Just if you're feeling a certain way, just ride with it.
Right.
It's like I had lovely advice from Bahia Hiba, who's one of our ensemble members in Moulin Rouge, Broadway veteran, like
she's
awesome.
She's in that Zen world as well.
Right, she's Zen.
Yeah.
And one day I was like, my voice is so tired. I'm like, I don't think I got these notes. She's like, just live with it. Like, be it. Don't try and change that your voice is feeling where it is. It's the same thing with the body. Just, it is where it is.
Till you scoop, and then you're like,
then I didn't scoop because I was trying to use my voice how I normally use it. And I'm like, it's not living up there today. So just leave it where it is. And then everything comes out anyway.
Right.
Without trying. It was weird because as soon as I accepted that, everything just came out like it was butter. It was amazing.
Right. That's kind of interesting.
Don't try and change how your body's feeling. Work with it.
I was going to say, can you give me an example of like something when something went wrong, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a stage thing actually, or a performance thing, but
when
like,
something went wrong,
and you kind of felt like then you saw your anxiety kicked in, or
mate, I've got a really good trick, and I've told it to a few friends. I think I've told it to you too. I meditate, but it's kind of meditation, but by visualization. So I visualize that I've got like a door on my chest, right? And whatever is bringing me down, like giving me anxiety or depression or whatever it is, I visualize it as like stones or something in my chest, or it could be sand or whatever it is, right?
Right.
And I visualize myself standing in a field, and I open the door in my chest, and I literally get out the stones and I put them into a basket, right? I put them into a basket, and then this basket I put on a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
And then
this is very specific.
Yeah, it's super specific. And I chop the lines that are tethered, that tether the balloon to the earth.
Yeah.
And then the balloon starts floating away with all my stuff. And like the thing is, I won't let the balloon go until all of the stuff's gone from my chest. It might take a while, but like it goes. And then it floats up into the air, and then it floats up out into space and into a black hole, and then it goes away. And then I instantly feel better.
So have you done that when something's actually gone wrong, and you've actually sort of channeled that?
Yeah, absolutely. When I feel down, or when I'm feeling a bit uncertain about like career or whatever, or,
Interesting.
I visualize that.
That's a good thing. So visualization is like you use that tool.
I think it's a very good thing.
Visualization is another way of a coping mechanism for sure. I use like physical exertion because it's getting rid of the adrenaline in a different way. But I wish I could do more of the visual stuff. I try.
Yeah, you should do it because
I listened to a podcast, another like a podcast, but like a meditation sort of thing. I've listened to one of those before, and that can help. You can put that on, and you can do practice, because it all comes back to breath and breathing properly and not holding your breath. Because invariably you will find when you are panicky or whatever on stage, not necessarily on stage, but in life, you will notice that your breathing is doing crazy batshit things. Yeah. And if you can breathe deeply and properly, then you invariably will feel better.
Yeah. I find
breathe as humans. And if you're not breathing properly, then you are going to be out of whack.
Of course.
But actually, Erica Punter gave me a very good, I forget her name. I should know that now. Maybe we can put it in the
What, Erica's name? What?
No, not Erica's name. The person she gave me the podcast off of, like the.
Oh, right.
It's pretty good. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I'm not very good at that sort of stuff either. I find like doing something physical is more my wheelhouse. But
I reckon if you make something tangible, if you make the anxiety tangible, that's why the visualization helps for me, because it's there. I can see it. Yeah,
it's good.
And then get rid of it.
So this week, we're going to play a new game. It's going to be called Would Boo Rather.
Would boo rather.
Yeah, would boo rather.
Would boo rather.
Would boo.
I think we should keep this one. I'm going to just keep this sound bite.
Keep that as the sound bite?
As the sound bite.
So, based on Would Boo Rather, it's obviously Would You Rather. So this is the game. So I'm going to ask you a question, and you can ask me one back. And I was going to obviously base it around anxieties and phobias, but because you pretty much don't really have any, it's kind of making it a bit tricky. So I need to think of something to ask you. Would Boo Rather? What's a good one to ask you? I mean, I had it all prepared and everything, but like,
just prepare it. Just shoot me what you've got.
Okay. I might have to edit around this.
No editing will be done.
Well, no,
this is authentic.
You don't really have. I'm going to use a shark reference, okay? Because that was actually quite a good one. Because you kind of sort of said, that's pretty brutal.
I mean, I may not have a phobia of a shark, but I'm still scared shitless. Like, if I was in the water and a shark came, it's not like I'd be like, oh, look, it's a shark. I'd be like, holy shit, it's a shark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's going to be. So would Boo rather have an encounter of a shark? So like the shark comes up, you see it underneath you, and it's going for you, and it's going to bite. It's going to take a chunk. It's going to take a serious chunk.
Yeah.
We'll say maybe you lose a limb. Let's say you lose a limb. All right.
Maybe a limb.
Maybe a limb goes.
Yeah.
Would you rather have that, or would you rather, for the rest of your life, emit a pungent stink that just comes off of your body?
Oh, that's a good one.
Forever. For the rest of your life, you just stink. Like not even like homeless stink, but like the worst stink you can imagine.
What limb? Is this like a random limb, or
let's say it takes your leg. Takes your leg off. Takes one of your legs.
All right. It's
quite brutal.
It's easy, but it's not. I'd take a leg.
You take a leg.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. All the people who have got like good values now saying, "Oh, that's a great answer," because it's not about this, and you know.
I'd take a leg because I don't want to stink. Right? No matter how hard you wash, I don't want to stink.
Yeah, so you're scrubbing. You're scrubbing your body, and you just cannot get that stink out.
I'd be like red raw, like every day trying to get that stink off.
You can't get it out.
I can't get it out. So
what about two limbs? What about let's up the ante.
I'd take my legs.
Your torso. You know, it's just a torso. You're a torso. That's it. An arm. The arms are gone as well. Arms and legs gone, and head. So you just got head, torso.
Oh, but how pungent is the stink?
It's the worst ever.
I'd have to go
You go with the stink.
I don't know. I'd have to go.
You'd be Stinky Rick.
Like just the torso. Yeah, I'd have to go stink. If it was two legs, I'd be like, cool. I could still play guitar. You know, I still rock that shit out.
All right, so we'll be general. We'll say two legs because I was being a bit brutal.
I'd still rock that shit out, mate. Right, but like I could still play Glastonbury with that. You know what I mean? But
yeah, you could.
Like,
all right,
you could. But if I was stinking,
yeah,
like ain't no one coming to watch me play.
No, ain't no one coming near you.
You know what I mean?
No, it's true. It's very true. All right, come on, hit me with it. Give me yours. Let's hear it.
Oh, would you rather? All right, this is going to be like a phobia.
Would Boo rather, but that's fine.
Would Boo rather, right? Be on stage, opening night.
Here we go.
Of Boo the musical. So it's all about you, right? Yeah. Massive press, right?
Yeah.
Biggest thing since Hamilton, Moulin Rouge, like on Broadway, like massive, right?
Okay. Music.
Without a doubt, right?
Yeah.
Would Boo rather, right? Just have a mare of a show where you crack, you blank, right?
God. Yeah.
And you fall off stage. Right?
Like yeah.
Or lose 3 fingers.
Lose 3 fingers?
Yeah.
Just that's it? Lose 3 fingers?
Yeah, but like think about it. What? That's it? You're thinking fingers. I know you are.
I'm thinking fingers. I mean, fingers is like, which fingers?
Oh, like, really?
Yeah.
You're so stagey, mate. You call me stagey?
No, because the trauma of that, you have to live with that for the rest of I know you have to live with 3 fingers missing as well, but like, you talking about whole fingers or just like the little stubs? You know what I mean?
They'd be literally like meow, little stubs of like meow, like so nothing there.
So I'd have little nibs,
little nubbins. Yeah.
Oh,
so what would you do?
Oh.
So yeah, it's a good one for you, right?
But then that mental sort of breakdown of like you ruined.
Yeah, but think of all the press that you'd get. It'd be like you'd be in all the papers.
Yeah,
and you'd still have to do the show, and you'd do it again the next night, and it wouldn't be as bad.
Would I get like a disability sticker as well for like having the 3 nubs?
You know, probably you could. You could probably wangle one of those.
I mean,
what would you do? 3 fingers, or like have a triple threat of a bad show?
Either way, they're both vain questions, aren't they? Really, let's be honest.
Yeah, but which one? Come on.
Both of them are vanity based.
You're upset with me that I asked this question.
Yeah, because it's like there's no right answer to this. I don't think. I'd have to take, because I don't want to mutilate myself. I'd have to take the L, wouldn't I? I'd have to be a big loser.
No, you wouldn't be. You think of all the press. You'd be in all the papers.
Yeah, and then for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, but then you do it again the next morning.
Man, some people don't come back from that. Have you noticed, though? Some people don't come back from that.
Yeah, the ones that, mate, nah. You could come back from that, I reckon.
I don't know. But that's probably what I'd do. God damn it. That was a tough one.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Moving on. So we're going to move on now. We're going to move on to Booze Breakdown.
And now it's time for Booze Breakdown.
Okay, seeing as we're specifically talking about phobias and anxieties and all that this week, I'm going to relay this to my breakdown of performance stuff. So my major problem with this industry is generally, and you can chip in with this and chime in and tell me what you think, is the amount of material we have to learn for an audition.
Yeah, that sucks. I actually saw a post in the UK, like that, it was, I think it was one of my friends on Twitter was like, this is ridiculous that this is happening still.
Right.
People have got lives.
Right.
And it's just not fair.
And so let me give you an example. Like, so for example, like when we get sent, if you're in a performer, you'll know this very well. But like, for those of you who aren't performers or are thinking about doing it or whatever, or are involved in it or have no understanding of it, potentially you could get stuff sent to you. And it could be one scene, which is very rare, unless it's a small part. But generally, you'll get like anything up to 3 scenes, which can be pretty long. I think one time I got sent 16 pages, to be taped by the next day. And I got it that evening as well. This is becoming more and more common as well. And if you're doing a musical thing, you can get like 3 scenes plus 2 songs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And the reason I have a big issue with it is because invariably you'll go into a room and it happens with lots of things. I don't think it's necessarily just our business. I think it's like lots of business. You can feel off somebody whether or not you like that person's energy. Yeah. There's something that radiates out of the person, or you can sort of see it. And so I don't think you need to hear 15 pages and 3 songs.
I agree.
Or watch a 20 fucking minute self-tape of somebody, because the casting people are literally trying to cover all bases. We're going to send you all this material. So I've done my job. I've covered all the bases. Here you go. And the producers and directors are going to watch it and they're going to go, okay, we're going to watch 3 seconds and we're going to know whether or not they like them or not. That is my big
it sucks.
Because this shit can take hours to learn.
Yeah.
Like some of those medical shows, all the jargon, and like, fuck that. It takes so long.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Auditioning in itself is a whole other skill set. Someone can be a really good auditioner and then be terrible at the gig. Someone could be amazing at a gig and not audition well. It's a totally different skill set. Totally different skill set. Which
some people have photographic memory as well, don't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, I think that more weight should be put on what the vibe of the person is, right? And learning something that makes you anxious and like nervous isn't going to help how you present your vibe. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, and some of those rooms that you go in though, and like, they're not geared up to like make you feel the most relaxed either.
Yeah.
Like, invariably you want to go in, like when people go in rooms, you think, okay, you want to see someone's best. And you kind of feel like you want...
Most panels are like that though. Like most panels want to see the best of you, but some panels, like, they're all for the ego. I don't get that.
I don't think you get that so much in TV though. TV is literally so cutthroat. You're in, you're out, and there's a conveyor belt of people outside you. Generally,
I haven't done much TV though. I haven't done much TV, so I wouldn't.
Very cut. It's way different. You literally go in and you have to do it and give the goods. Otherwise, they're on the clock. Musicals,
but you know what?
Different.
You know what does suck though with musicals? I think all auditions as well. When you get sent loads of material, right? Loads of it. And you learn it.
And then they don't ask for it.
And then you get there and they don't ask for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that shit should be outlawed.
Right.
If you're asked to learn something, it's a guarantee that you're going to do it, because otherwise, what's the fucking point? You know what I mean? It's not. It's.
I get it. I don't know. I always feel like I always had a problem with it. Always.
It's disrespectful.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's like, because you do have a life. Some people have to have other jobs, and you're trying to squeeze in this stuff around things. And people are saying, "Well, what the hell are you moaning about?" So you have to learn if you pay. So what? And I don't get that as well. You can have that. You can have that debate, but you're not getting paid to learn all the material. You're hoping to get something out of learning all the material. So it is time consuming. It's just very.
But I think the casting should do their job better and have something in place that they don't have to. That's something that's not as big of a learn. Rather, it's more specific and can show more of what the producers are looking for. I think usually why they send out so much stuff is because casting is throwing a wide net and they don't know what a producer wants. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or what a director
they're
wants.
covering the bases, but generally you can see, I think pretty quickly whether or not someone's right for the role as soon as they've done 2 lines.
Yeah.
And the look of it, because how much stuff's based on look now. It is. So it's the fact that you've spent 3 days or one night or given something at 5 o'clock that night, and you have to go in the next morning and not have it become a memory test, which basically is what it becomes. It's true. So you're not acting at all because you're thinking, what the fuck is that? Or the lines. It's just everything about it, the way it's built is just so not helpful to relaxation of anxiety and like giving your best. I don't think I've always felt that. I just didn't.
That's true.
It's not.
Yeah.
Which is why COVID, actually, the whole COVID break sort of interruption, because then when you didn't have to go into rooms, you'd invariably be sent things, and it all became a bit self-tapey, which has its pros and cons as well. But the pros to self-tape are that you can do it over and over and over until you're really happy with whatever you want and send it in.
Yeah, I like that.
And most people would probably go down that route than going into a room to sort of stare at these faces, which are just being, but then you don't get the sort of necessarily the feedback. But I mean, in TV stuff, sometimes you don't get any feedback. They just tape you and then they chuck you out. So you can do that in your house as a self-tape as well. Why am I going all the way down to the fucking Lower East Side to do a TV commercial or TV casting for, when I can just do it in my room? You know what I mean? And actually get it right and feel relaxed, rather than going down there, having a terrible reader, which happens a lot as well. I don't know. Anyway, that's Boo's breakdown. We're moving on.
Boo's breakdown.
Boo's breakdown's done. So I think we should move on now to we should get Ricky's Rex. Get some Ricky's Rex going.
Ricky's Rex.
What's your rec of the week then, Rix? Let's hear it.
Well, it's more of a debate, actually.
Oh, let's hear it.
It's a never end. I think it's a debate as long as as old as the ages. Again, toilet paper.
Oh, go on then.
All right, toilet paper.
Yeah.
Now it's a tame one. It's a tame debate. When you put the toilet paper on the roll holder, right?
Yeah.
Do you feed the toilet paper over the top or under the bottom?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I always go over the top because I think I never understand why people want it to go flat against the wall, and then because invariably it will drag and sort of drop to the floor.
Right. Now listen,
I think over, it's easier to handle. But I don't know whether that's a sanitary thing where if you've got it under, you're not touching the rest of the roll in theory, whereas over you can potentially drag it and then touch the top, the underside of the, I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I've had this debate with my wife, Natalie, for many years. And
I think over. It looks nicer over as well.
She's
under
adamant. She's adamant that it's under, right?
It looks cheap though. It looks
I know.
tacky.
And I'm like, yeah, but at hotels, they put them over.
Yeah.
Right. And she was like, no, under. And every time I change it, she changes it back. So I'm like, what are you doing? Right. So I looked up the original patent for toilet paper.
Yeah.
Right. The original patent diagram.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, everyone, listeners,
It's
over.
Of course it is. Because you know, in some of those hotels as well, they have that flap thing which goes on top, which allows you to sort of tear the piece
without touching the toilet
roll. So that's So
they
do have that. That is actually a thing. You just pull it out. I mean,
Nat, if you're listening, it's over.
You're wrong.
It's over, babe.
Unless
you're
you put
wrong.
It under,
I win.
Heathens,
I
a
win.
lot of you.
I win.
It looks proper tacky underneath. And you always see it dragging on it's always on the floor. Or like,
please don't get angry at me. And it'll be over. It'll be under every time I put the toilet roll. But it's over.
So the rec is to have over toilet paper, people.
Yeah, have over. All right.
Yeah.
So endeth Ricky's Rex.
Oh, so this is towards the end of the show because we got through quite a bit, I think. And I'm trying to be mindful of time this week as well. We've done.
We should start wrapping it up.
I think we should wrap it up. I think it's been fun today. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
And we shall be back sooner rather than later. Next step, we're going to have a special guest. I'm not going to tell you who it is because then you have to tune in and see. And I'm not even going to put it on the announcement of who it is. So then you definitely have to come and see. But there will be someone very, very dear to our hearts joining us next time. So tune in for episode 4. And I'm not even going to tell you what that is because it's going to be even more of a surprise.
Yeah. Why would we tell you?
Why? Because we don't even know. Because
we don't know what we're doing.
We have no idea what we're doing.
We just worked out this podcast like 2 minutes before we press record.
Exactly. And it shows. Anyway, it wouldn't be right to not finish without Scooby of the Week.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo! Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you?
Go on, Reggie.
Some work to do now.
Here we go. Tell me what you think, Rick.
Oh, wow.
Was that a bit too loud? I need to turn it down a bit.
No, it's fine.
Do you want to hear it one more time?
Yeah.
Come on then. Let's go again.
Oh, God.
Poor girl, was gospel queen. She was going for it. She was feeling really like confident, and then this happened.
Oh my God.
See, that reminds me back now to like the opening night thing, and that happened, and you're like,
that happened,
mate. You have to get through the rest of the show knowing that you did that. Oh, you gotta have some strong nerves.
You'd be cracking on every song.
Jesus,
it's hilarious.
That poor girl. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us.
Hey,
we'll see you again next week. This is
bye everyone.
We'll see you again. Take care.
Bye.